All right, now I want to bring in CBS News Homeland Security correspondent Nicole Sganga. She is at Reagan National Airport, which just minutes ago reopened.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, we are just starting to see across from me, there's a window, if I can paint a picture for our viewers, and we are just starting to see the first commercial flights land. We're here in Terminal 1. We've been watching as a Southwest flight just landed moments ago. And it's been fascinating to see the airport really transform over the past 14 hours. I've been here for 14 hours, initially at a standstill, and we saw the monitors, the screens turn red as there were confused, frustrated, very upset, frankly, travelers here at the airport. Eventually, those clearing out. We know that at least 15 planes were grounded last night, in addition to 19 that were diverted to nearby Dulles Airport, but now can confirm that operations are fully up and running. We've been speaking with some travelers who have trickled in asking, are you concerned? Are you nervous? We've gotten sort of mixed responses. Some folks understandably shaken by some of the video that they saw surface overnight. Others confident that they will travel safely today. And of course, both myself and my colleagues have pressed the DC mayor, the Secretary of Transportation, lawmakers to say, can the American public feel confident heading on a plane today? And everyone has resoundingly responded, yes, the FAA feels confident. There's been a lot of coordination in terms of law enforcement and first responders on the ground today. But as for Terminals 1 and Terminals 2, just saw another Southwest flight take off. It is business as usual, at least on this side of the airport.
And Nicole, you spoke to DC's mayor just about half an hour ago, live here on CBS News 24/7, and she was talking about the kinds of support available to families of the victims. Walk us through what is going to be offered.
Yeah, and really American Airlines is leading much of this. So they've actually stood up a bit of a resource center in Terminal 2. That's across from where we are now, where it's serving as a place where families can gather. They have resources available to them. There are counselors on standby, and American, offering many services to those families. Of course, the mayor saying that, the whole city is behind these individuals. We heard lawmakers, both senators from Virginia, as well as a local congressman, say their offices are open for any families that need assistance or guidance during this time. Earlier this morning, about 2 press conferences ago, we also saw both senators from Kansas. They had rushed to Reagan National Airport to try to comfort some of the families that were here and waiting. Of course, our affiliate speaking to one individual who was waiting for his wife, who said he had received a text message just 20 minutes before the flight was meant to land. And so some very heartbreaking stories emerging. We're still learning more about the victims, but certainly there is an effort here to really try to lift up these families as much as possible. It's interesting, I think in the next few days, and we've talked about this a little bit on 24/7, there are going to be a number of questions that lawmakers pose, a number of questions for the NTSB, which is the lead investigative agency here, about what went wrong. But today, the feeling is really trying to bolster and support these families as much as possible, focus on the victims, find out more about them, and offer what guidance can be offered or what love can be offered, quite frankly, to their loved ones. That being said, Washington, D.C., certainly a city, and this certainly an airport, DCA here, many lawmakers in and out of this airport. Certainly, that was something senators spoke about today, many of them sitting on committees of commerce and transportation. There are going to be some serious, questions, some that we've raised during our segments today regarding the communication failures, the apparent lack of coordination here. But today, the feeling very much a focus here on the airport on lifting some of these families up.
Yeah, that's an important point, Nicole, where this happened. This is a historic tragedy, but also happened at an airport that is so central to the work of national lawmakers and, frequented, as you said, by so many. What does that say about national security? And we're hearing from Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem today.
Yeah, we are hearing from the Secretary, and certainly the U.S. Coast Guard, which sits under the Department of Homeland Security, surged resources here in the early morning hours and late last night. There were several vessels that came from nearby Station Washington and Station St. Inigo. And so lots of DHS personnel on the ground just walking around the airport. It's very apparent that there is a real robust presence of TSA, of Federal Protective Service, of other law enforcement agencies that fall under the Department of Homeland Security. So certainly we can feel that presence here on the ground. But as you point out, and the mayor actually spoke with us about this, Washington, D.C. has a very unique airspace. There are federal assets here, clearly, as was the case last night with this Black Hawk Army helicopter. And that does make it look a little different than some other cities, some other airspaces above other cities in the United States. Certainly going to be a crucial part of this investigation. She raised several questions about where the helicopter was supposed to be and what authorities, a DOD helicopter would need versus a private commercial helicopter, perhaps something that the NTSB will be looking into today. I did think it was very interesting during our press conference earlier today. The Secretary of Transportation was asked, similar to what President Trump had said earlier, was this preventable? And he responded, without hesitation, he feels this was preventable. So I know we're awaiting remarks by the president. It'll be interesting to see if he sort of goes back to that point. Certainly, there are going to be a number of lessons learned in the coming days and weeks. But officials here, despite being cautious about what they're letting us into in terms of the investigation, seem to think that this tragedy could have been prevented.
All right, Nicole Sganga for us live inside the airport.